I started working with horses in a more formal bodywork way in about 2002 when I met the person in California that I took the class from, and that was really where it started for me. This person is very, very gifted healer, and I could see that he had an incredible connection with horses on a level that I didn't understand. I could see it. There was something about just this sacred space that they entered together that was very quiet and very peaceful, but I didn't understand what it was. And so I started to explore by taking classes with this person and by then attending the Academy of Healing Arts, where I studied polarity therapy, which is a kind of energy-based modality, and then just continuing to study other things like craniosacral work and Reiki and just experimenting. So, you know, it was probably around 2002, just in a workshop setting, where I started to practice with horses that weren't mine, and then just from there exploring with different horses, my own and friends' horses. And I feel that they'll teach you what you need to know. They'll show you what you need if you really listen. And so I feel that they've really been the most important teachers in this process for me. Copper came into my life about 10 years ago. It was kind of an interesting story. I wasn't looking to buy a horse at the time. I had just gotten back into riding as an adult and was leasing a horse, this wonderful old gentleman named Charlie. And I came back from a trail ride with him one afternoon and went into the barn where he was stabled, and there was Copper standing in a stall. And a shock just went through my body. I just had this knowing that he was going to be part of my life. And I didn't have any idea how I was going to pay for him, or where I was going to keep him, or how any of these pieces were going to work, but I just knew. And so I ended up purchasing him, and because he had had sort of a difficult past, I got him when he was 7 years old, and he had had 6 different owners, which is really hard on an animal, you know, to have that kind of instability. And so he was very shut down, and it was not easy to connect with him. It was not easy to bond with him. It was not easy to figure out who he was or how to relate to him. And so I began to look for ways to try to help him. And I started learning about flower essences and about Reiki. And about that time also, I came across a man from California who was teaching some bodywork classes here in Santa Fe. And I started taking classes with him and started studying. And so because of Copper, I began to explore different healing modalities, and that's why I am where I am now, is because of Copper and the gift that he has made of himself in my life. Mostly his problems were on an emotional level and not so much physical. He's a very strong horse. He's very muscular. I feel that probably people who had him before me pushed him really hard because of that physical athleticism, and that they probably didn't have an emotional connection with him. He was a tool, and so he really needed support and help on an emotional level, which is what flower essences are so beautiful in helping, and some of the more energetic approaches to body work. They address more of the emotional issues. The connection that horses have is so interesting because they really do read what's inside of you on an emotional level. So I've had situations where I was really feeling upset about something inside, and I went to visit my horses, and I was trying to put on a happy face because I'm seeing my horses and I don't want to be crabby or something. And so I go down, and there's Annie, and she doesn't want anything to do with me. she doesn't want me to pet her. If I approach her to try to touch her on the neck, she turns away or she walks away. And so what she's telling me is, I see that you're upset and you're pretending not to be upset. This makes me feel really uncomfortable, so I'm just going to leave. So another time, something had really bothered me to the point where I was crying. And I took my journal and I was just going to sit with the horses and just let it out and write about it and just express what I was feeling inside. And so I went and turned one of the feed tubs over and I sat down there and I started writing and I was crying and I was being authentic. That was what I was really feeling that day. I was upset and I was letting it come out from my heart. Well, this same horse, Annie, came right over to me and stood with me the whole time that I was crying and writing in my journal. And she touched my shoulder with her nose. She sniffed my hair. She came so close that she was putting her neck over me in a very protective way. And she stayed there the whole time until I had processed what I needed to let go of. And she actually kept one of the other horses away. She would turn and pin her ears at him and wouldn't let him come into the space that we were sharing together in that moment. And so I just feel like horses are so sensitive, and that they remind us to be authentic, and that it's okay to express our emotions and be who we really are inside, and that they accept that, and that they feel safe when someone is real, and that that's what they're here to teach us about. The thing that I really love about this work is how generous the horses are, and how willing they are to just open themselves to us. And I feel that they've given me such a gift by just being who they are, and that they have allowed me to really become more of a whole person through interacting with them. And so I feel really that they have healed me, and that they have drawn me on this journey, and that's what it's about. It's not about me doing something to them or healing them, or having this ego involvement of being a healer or something. I don't view it that way at all. I feel that it's this beautiful thing that they're sharing with me that comes from a very, very deep place within them, from their heart. I would urge anybody who has a chance to interact with horses to find a way to do that, because they're such amazing beings, and just to see them together in a pasture, I think, would move people to a place of understanding something different about themselves inside. And that if people would just allow them to speak to them in whatever way they can take in, that you would be changed inside, that it would be an experience that would make you feel different inside.